Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel, welcome back to Cities Skylines. Continuing along with our little peaceful, sleepy town here that's growing up pretty okay. We're waiting for our population to tick over to 7,500 ultimately, but we can add in a little bit more stuff here. So for instance over here, we can add in this little bit of extra commercial since there's a bit of demand for it. And hopefully this will bring us up and over to the point where we need to be. So yeah, just taking it relatively calm and relaxed, but I'm still sort of that player that looks at the big picture and doesn't look in on people and doesn't care about the individual lives of the tiny little dots that roam around the city because I'm an awful person. But you know, that's how I am. Don't mind me. Alright, so we need to get a bus station system up here. For that, we're going to want our roads to all be in place, though, so we're going to go ahead and build these out to the extent that they can go. Oops, that was a mild cock-up on that issue. And to get higher quality housing, we might want to start upgrading our roads and adding in parks as well. Because, like, we're not too concerned about growing our population as fast as possible. We are growing our population pretty quickly here, but, I mean, it'll grow regardless of what we do. So it's not a huge deal if we sort of focus our money on other things here. So what we can do is we can go ahead and we can take the upgrade button and we can start upgrading these roads, for example. Well, I should actually do these roads. But we can start upgrading these roads to tree-lined ones. And we want to make sure that we don't hit any of our one-ways, because that will change those to two-ways. Not what we want to be doing in our little city here. And we can just go ahead and get all those. And you can see this makes people who live along these roads slightly happier. Not very happy, but, you know, a little bit happier. And it's also good for commerce. Oh, and there we go, up to 75,000. So now with this new population, we can start upgrading certain things in certain ways, which are going to be pretty interesting and change the dynamic of how the city works, without really changing the actual layout all that much necessarily. So we do need more housing pretty badly. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to de-zone all of this residential here. And just make sure I get all of that. That should be good for now. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to rezone all this as dense residential, and we're going to rezone all of this as dense residential as well. So what's going to happen is that those buildings are all going to go down, and you can see that those buildings all disappeared. And if we were to speed this up a little bit, we can see these houses here are all slowly being replaced with condos. And at the start, these are going to be pretty shady condos. They're not going to be the best ones or the nicest ones, but they're going to get upgraded fairly quickly. So we're going to watch as those higher density houses start filtering in. And we can look here, we've got 4 houses in that low density housing building. This higher density one has 10 households and it's a lower tier building. So this is going to help solve, as you can see, our demand for housing has crashed completely, despite the fact that we haven't zoned. Alright, no idea what the hell that was, but, you know, whatever, things happen sometimes. So anyway, this is going to dramatically increase the density of the population going on, like, in this small area. And this is both good and bad. What's going to happen over in this small residential area is we're going to have a massive buildup of people who are moving in here, and that's going to increase the traffic without increasing the amount of space or roads to spread it out on, which is, you know, good and bad. So it lets us get a much more dense, compacted city with more people in it. But at the same time, it's going to stop us from having as efficient a flow of traffic. Like, when you've got this lower density and you've got the flow of traffic set up, that's fine and all that is pretty good. But once you change this density, you end up getting a lot more in terms of people living in that small space, and you get a lot more traffic using these same little roads. So it's going to be a thing, I guess. We're going to move on to... yeah, we can do some high-density commercial. Okay, I think it happened again. I think, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so we can start zoning in some denser residential as well over here. We actually may as well just do this whole block now that I'm redoing that little bit there that had that bit of commercial for some reason or another, but we can go ahead and do that. And that's going to add in a lot more residential, and we can also go in here with this commercial area and rezone this to dense commercial. And these are going to be much more like large shopping areas and centers. And lastly, we've got this clean factory-like thing. It provides jobs just like factories do, but it's actually just people in offices, and they work the same sort of way, but at the same time they work a little bit differently because they don't cause any pollution, they just generate jobs. They also don't produce any industrial products. So if we were to go to this box factory here, this actually produces boxes, which is good for the sort of economy of our little town here. Now, what I want to start doing as well is putting in some trash incinerators, and we're going to put these in right away as replacements, sort of. We're going to want one in each of our industrial parks, and that is going to be sufficient. There's going to be a bit of noise pollution associated with it, but that's fine. So you want to put those where you would otherwise be building your trash anyway. We're going to go ahead and we're going to unload the trash in this landfill site. We're going to do one at a time, for the most part, and we're going to turn this one off here. We're going to, in fact, turn all of our trash sites off so that they're not receiving any trash. And that's going to stop our people from using those, and that's going to put everything into the incinerators. And that's going to make sure that our town eventually can free up that space, because landfills just fill up and they're awful. They're literally miniature garbage-filled Hitlers. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and just slowly change the zoning for our places. We're going to try and spread out the load as we change this. Shurigane Ward, for example, we're going to put down a little bit of dense residential. Eventually, we're going to replace all of our residential with dense residential, and that's going to be fine. We should actually go ahead and do the bus line that I was talking about in the Kudo Ward, and that's going to basically make it so that we can get our traffic and happiness sorted out a little bit more, even. Now, one of the things that you could potentially do is you can just replace all of your current... what's it called? You could replace all of your old stuff with, like, the new stuff. I don't even know what I'm thinking about here right now, because I'm kind of a little bit whatever, but why? Where's the end of this line? There it is. Okay, there we go. Blah. Okay. You could replace all of your industry with the cleaner office buildings. The thing about the clean office buildings is that these don't produce those commercial goods, so you'll end up exporting them in from out of town, and that can actually increase traffic yield. So whenever an industrial building is building whatever it is making, it's going to send out products to these commercial buildings here, actually commercial buildings here or whatever, and that's going to receive those shipments and then sell them to your residential. If you've got factories but if you have commercial but you don't have factories, you have to import everything, and that's going to increase the amount of traffic that's going to be coming in off this road. Now, you do actually export some of your industrial stuff, so you do have to sort of notice that, but that's not a huge issue or anything. If we look here, we can see that we're getting a decent flow of traffic here. It looks like things are going relatively smoothly, so we're going to be happy with that. Things look pretty smooth everywhere, in fact, so we're going to be very happy with that. Alright, so we do need to continue upgrading our residential to this dense residential. Alright, there we go. And let's just double check here with our social policies. We could potentially choose free public transit, and this is going to further increase our bus stop usage, and that's going to be very good. We do always want to increase and encourage the use of buses as opposed to the use of whatever else. What I'm going to do is actually put in another bus line, and we're going to make it go around. We're going to have it come over to here, and we're going to go over to here where the bus lines meet, and then we're just going to have it loop around and complete the line here. So it's going to be a bit of a transit nightmare to actually get here. To a certain extent, but at the same time it's also going to work out a lot better in the long run with people taking the bus to get to the Kudo Ward from the Shurigane Ward. The Shurigane Ward is sort of a hub that takes you both to the other wards. Looks like we're having some trouble with our landfill sites because I think that our Trash incinerators are not quite picking up the burden just yet, but as those sort of kick into high gear, part of the problem is going to be that our trash incinerators are picking up a lot of trash from the filled land site, so you can see our garbage reserves in this incineration plant. It's pretty much getting full, but that's going to stop when this stops emptying. This landfill site's at 73% full. We can slow this down for a little bit here, and that's going to stop that from accumulating those problems for a little bit. We can wait for our trash problems to sort of compact themselves, as it were, a little bit, and get to that again a little bit later. But for now, looks like we need to do some more zoning again. And again, we're going to take Shirogane Ward, and we're going to add in another dense zone. We're going to dezone a bit of the commercial as well here. And we're also going to go ahead and we're going to still use some dirty industry because, again, we want those products coming into the market, and that's going to be a good way to do that. But we can go ahead and we can rezone some of the areas around Kudo Ward as well. Alright. So that high density stuff is just really what I want to see in the city, eventually being everywhere, being the preeminent sort of building that I've got going here, is everything high density. Make this as dense a city as possible. Its inhabitants as dense as possible. I'm just kidding. We do need another elementary, so we're going to go ahead and plop that down here. And we do need a high school, so we're going to go ahead and put this one over here. And this is going to probably help educate the people over in Shirogane over there. Shirogane is going to be our, like, education, I think, one, and it's going to have the university, I suspect. We could actually replace commercial, since we tend not to need that as badly. So we're going to put the university down right here. And that's going to apply to, like, everything, everywhere, ever, which is really nice. We have replaced some of our residential, so we're going to have to replace even more of this. And you can see that because we're doing this, what's going to end up happening is we'll need more land for business, for industrial and for offices, and they're not going to be able to fit in these compacted cities anymore because I've got them blocked off along the side. So we're going to end up with industrial parks and stuff like that potentially, but we try to avoid those where we can, and this is why I was straining so hard with the residential population zoning earlier. It's because I didn't want to add more residential zones, because I knew I was going to end up in this situation where my residential zones were just not really necessary, because I'd be upgrading the density instead. If it gets bad enough, I can always build another ward, and I can give that ward much different, I can give it a different concentration of different types of buildings. I could give it more residential, or I could give it more industrial as opposed to as much residential, since that high density stuff will kick in and help there. Alright, so I have high demand for, like, everything now, and also there's a problem cropping up of not enough educated workers, so I'm going to have to start making sure that I'm keeping up on education. It looks like that should be less of a problem now, although it looks like we still have lack of educational facilities over in Kudo, so we're going to give them an elementary. You want an elementary basically in every ward. You can have a high school in, like, every other ward, and you only need, like, a university basically in, like, a centralized location that's going to be good for multiple sections of your city. So that's how that's sort of going to be. And that should be fine. So, city chugging along pretty nicely at this point in time. I think that we probably have dealt with a bit of the backlog for the incinerators. Absolutely not. Fantastic. Okay, so let's start emptying this one. And the reason that I want to empty that one is that I think we have an incinerator around here somewhere. Right there, okay. It's not necessarily the easiest thing to actually identify your different buildings here. There we go. So the reserves on this one, this is also actually pretty full, but, you know, again, this is a problem that sorts itself out eventually. Garbage is piling up. Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, we are going to just build one more incinerator once we can afford it. They are pretty expensive, though. 30,000 each, so it's not something we can just afford to place down right now. And also, we need to consider putting in our subway metro line, which is also very expensive, so not really the great time for this all to be happening. We can, however, continue resolving this residential crisis as we continue along, just a little bit by little bit. There we go. And again, that'll increase that density. Let's check our power. We do want to make sure that we're keeping up on top of that. Our water treatment is going okay. Actually, I should probably go in here and check something here. If we go to our budget, I had my electricity at higher than normal cost. Let's double check to make sure that that doesn't change our electricity availability too badly. That should be fine. I think that keeping it at about 100% efficiency is sort of the way to do it. You don't want to be doing anything too wonky as far as that goes otherwise. Let's actually dezone this first and then just put in the dents, because I don't want to have to sort of stencil in the stuff later on. There we go. As you can see, like, without building any new streets or zones or anything like that, we're dramatically increasing sort of the population. We're up to nearly 10,000 without having built any new wards, just purely with all of these little apartment blocks that we're building and putting in. So that's fantastic. That's really good. We're earning a little bit less weekly income than I would like to. I thought we were up to 3,000 for a little while back there, but that's fine. You can just look at the city like this and just really sit back and appreciate it once you get it sort of up and running. But every time I do it, I always feel like I could make this better. I could do so much more with this if I put a little bit more into it. And it's, you know, it's one of those feedback loops. It's just like, instead of getting to that point where I'm like, yeah, I'm satisfied with what I've done, I'm just like, I have to change more. And it becomes a problem. Yep. Alright, let's go ahead and wipe out that. Alright, there we go. If we look over here with our office blocks, or that's actually our shops. Interesting. Okay. Well, but we can see some interesting shops starting to crop up. I think we're just about to see some of them going up to the second tier. But we'll probably want to add just a little bit of park over here since we don't have any parks yet. I could put one here. Or maybe not. Oh yeah, I could. Do I want to, though? I think I do. Let's put one down. That's taking up a little bit more of the block than I would honestly like it to. Let's relocate that slightly. There we go. So that just gives us a little bit of a more clear area where it exists and gives a little bit more elegant room, and it's along the road, which I like. Okay, so that's going to start dinging up all these buildings over there in Kudo, which is good. Also, I'm not building new wards because I have to think about what I'm going to name it to keep it on theme. Not even sure that I spelled that right. Anyway, let's continue on here. Just bulldozing buildings. There is that mod, of course, to fix that, but again, don't really feel as though I need to. Oh, we're up to small city already. We've got some new buildings here. Well, we don't have train access yet, I don't think. Actually, we do. We could build a train station that connects up to there. That would bring freight into the city from up here. That does cause some interesting traffic congestion, though, so we're not going to deal with that just yet. Looks like our freeway system is being used by people from, like, probably Kudo, so that's good. Means they're sort of traveling around in that sort of way. What do we want to do now, though? It's earned us quite a bit of money, so this is a good time to put in our metro lines. So we're going to go ahead and put in a quick pause here. Now, metro lines are interesting. They're a good way to bring people from one end of your city to the other. We could bring, for example, we could put in a couple stations sort of like here, and bring them from there up into the industrial zone. There is a bit of a noise pollution associated with metro lines. They're not ideal to put in the middle of these sort of municipal areas, but at the same time, they're going to counteract that unhappiness by adding in the metro line. What I could also potentially do is I could choose to put the metro line into the central area and just have them connect up the different wards together and not have them travel from one end of the city or one end of the ward to the other. But on the other hand, I like the idea of being able to have my people come into work on these metro lines. So having them do that would probably be a good idea. To do that, it's quite expensive though, so we're going to have to probably hold off just a tiny little bit. Also, we're going to have to increase the happiness and land values around our region here. So one of the things that we're going to do, spend our money on fairly early on, is upgrade our road system here. There we go. And we want to be careful that we're getting just the roads that we're actually using as sort of one-way roads around here. Adding in these tree-lined little boulevards, or whatever you want to call them, increases the happiness, obviously, so this is increasing the land value everywhere. Hopefully it'll be enough to upgrade some buildings, and I think some of the buildings are dinging because of our efforts here. Why can't I upgrade this to that site? I think that's already upgraded, but there's an indent in the road, so it's preventing that from upgrading any further. Now, strangely enough, you do actually want to upgrade your roads near your industrial sector, and you wouldn't think that they'd care, but for some reason they do. I like the upgrade for this particular one as well, because it stops people from parking on the road, which, if you've ever sort of driven around in an area where it's like congested and there's a bunch of people like parked on the road, it is just something that drives you nuts. I think a lot of people who've been playing this game have like commented that watching that's just infuriating. And it's very realistic that they do, but it is at the same time infuriating. Alright, so that should be all the road in this area. So we got a couple dips in the road that are causing a little bit of a wonkiness, but that's fine. So if we look down at our roads here, we can see a lot of dense traffic flowing through here, but it's flowing very quickly. It's not really stopping very much. You can see lots and lots of little people around here. Look at this pink house. What kind of weirdo house is pink like that? Alright, well, whatever. So, people are upgrading their homes, so it is going well as far as that is all concerned. And it looks like we can reward a little bit more commercial, so we're going to go ahead and do that before we add in our subway line. Adding in the subway lines and deciding how you're going to do that, it's a bit of a big decision. Not like a life-shattering one, because it's relatively easy to fix, but, I mean, yeah, we are going to do a line which is going to go from central sort of residential hub, and it's going to go from the residential central hub over towards the industrial sector. So we're going to have two lines in here, and we're going to have two lines up here. And we're going to arrange sort of all of our industrial areas in this way. So once you've gotten this, you can start setting up lines, and we're just going to have a basic circle route here, first of all. And we're also going to have an express cross route here. Oh. Oops, why can I not... Huh, space art. Oh, I remember why. So we'll go here to here, and then to here. There we go. And what we can do here now is we can add in a basic circle route. There we go. And we can add in an express line that goes straight from one corner to the other. Then up to here, straight to here, then up to here. I think that sort of works. And yeah, that's going to be the Edogawa Ward Metro Station. So that one's a self-contained loop that just goes around there. And you can see how much happier people are now that they've got a bunch of train stations that they're going to be able to rely on to sort of get around this area. And it's going to reduce traffic through the Edogawa area, which is really good. And we're going to repeat the same thing for Shirogane, and we're going to repeat the same thing over in Kudo. So that's going to be that. But then once we're done that, we're going to connect the different rail loops together in central hubs so that we can have our people sort of journeying through those train stations much more effectively from one end of the city to the other. I need to check my fire coverage. It is getting a little bit silly here. Holy crap, I don't have a fire station in Kudo. Oh, that could have been bad. Okay, we'll put one about... We'll put one by the park, since we're using up that space anyway. That should be a good idea. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is that my coverage in this area has actually gone down. And the reason for this is that when you've got the high density stuff, you need more fire trucks to cover the same amount of area. So we need to have the second one, and you can see that we still have like fire risks up here. So that's going to be something I'm going to definitely have to deal with as we can get to it. We're going to ignore this for now since we can't really do a whole lot with it, but we are going to try and get ready to install another set of these. We can't quite afford to finish this route, but we'll put them in now anyway, even though it's taking away from my tax income. Yeah, not enough money. So, we'll leave that be for now. It does also cost money to create new lines, so we're going to have to sit on that for just a little bit here. Looks like we still have some problems with our landfill sites. Let's see here. That's still emptying. Our incineration plants are still basically above capacity, which is going to be a continuing problem. We could actually put in one more incinerator if I had the money and remembered that that's what I was going to do, in fact, when I got more money. But, you know, yeah, things happen. I think that there's a recycling initiative, but I can't remember for sure. Yeah, recycling, that'll reduce the amount of trash that people produce, which will help out with that. These are all going to be general policies that are going to apply everywhere, but hopefully that'll kick in before too many problems happen. Let's just check our transit here. We want to see, looks like we've got some citizens who are starting to use our public transit system for trains. You can actually see them in these train stations, and that's a good way to determine how much station traffic you're getting. So that's fine. And hopefully that'll increase. We've actually got a lot of people using the buses every week already. Over 500 it looks like, so that's pretty good. Alright, so we've got this problem with trash still. We're going to go ahead and add another incinerator. And we're going... oh, crap, we actually need power. That's going to be a little bit more important. That's going to take a bit of a priority over the trash situation, since the trash situation will probably slowly sort of trickle away. But the power situation we need to fix right away. One of the nice things about the the incinerators, once I get this other one down, is they actually generate a tiny bit of energy, so they're not that bad. But I definitely do need another one, so we're going to go ahead and drop this down here. That should be fine. And what we're going to do now is just upgrade more and more of our areas here. We can upgrade this to some dirty industry, I think. I think that's 4. Yeah, that's 4. And the rest of the way we'll go with the office buildings. We'll have them sort of striated this way. What I would actually have liked is to have the office buildings over here and then the industrial all up along here, but I'll do that for the next one. I don't really care that badly. Looks like we need another cemetery. Okay. Because we only have one and it's probably full. Okay, let's go ahead and put it over here. There we go. We're spending a ton of our cash just adding in things for our ungrateful citizens left, right, and center. But you know what? That's fine. That's what the money's for. Or, you know, it's for embezzling and pocketing for yourself. One of the two. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so... yeah, we've got a lot more students at our university now. Or that's our high... yeah, that is our university. It's already a quarter full. I'm surprised. We have got a growing population of 15,000 though already, and like we've basically doubled in size without increasing the geographical size of our little town here, which is nice. I like that fact. Again, we are going for that max density sort of style here. We're going to go ahead and build more dense commercial here. There we go. And that sort of caps out the density of the commercial in this region. We do need some water pipes, it seems. There we go. And that should fix that problem. And we do need a little bit more industrial. So let's go ahead and use dirty again. We've already got this zoned out for dirty industrial, so we're going to be okay doing dirty industrial. Actually, let's keep a little bit of this area clear here by that road. Do want to keep relatively clean intersections here, so... there we go. Alright, so how are we doing on cleaning out this landfill site? It's still pretty full looking, 81%. That's kind of not good. do we just not actually have enough water? We don't. We're finally at that point where we need to add another water. Alright. And we can see our pollution streaming down. That's fine. Alright. And we'll go ahead and we'll add another outflow pipe over here. Now, the river here is actually pretty good, so we don't need to worry too much about what's going on with our sewage outflow pipes. It travels down pretty quickly and gets taken away pretty fast, so that's fine. Crematoriums, those are also pretty good. We've got water treatment plants as well that we can use to replace those, but we don't really have to. But adding in some crematoriums is always a good thing. They actually increase happiness around them for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why, but people seem to like crematoriums, so they're a good thing to add. They increase land value inexplicably, which is nice. Okay, so yeah, we've already understood that. Okay, and we need to get this metro line finished now that we've gotten a big cash injection. Let's go ahead and put that there. And we'll, again... You know, I don't think like I really need that cross path. So we'll build up like that, and we'll build our circle route real quick here. And I think we've actually got the space to like pretty close to perfectly here. Next up, we're going to go ahead and build a road system that leads from here to here, and from here to here. And that's going to let us build... let's see here. This is the industrial section. So we're going to add in these stops here, and we're going to go straight over to the industrial zone. So these people can go from where they live down over to the industrial area, like without having to do anything too complicated. And then we're going to go ahead and create a new line over here and make it so that these guys can get up to this industrial zone. And then down to... It's basically going to be a line loop, so that's going to work out for them. And what's going to happen is that people, you know, can now travel across from Edogawa to Shirogane and get to work if they happen to work in the other ward. So if their house is somewhere else, that's going to work out well for them. Looks like we have to increase our commercial again. We need to increase everything, but one of the things is our housing. We don't really need to increase that much right now. It's actually one of the ones that's relatively okay. Although I do notice an employment problem again, so we're going to have to upgrade Shirogane, I think. Okay, so let's go ahead and upgrade this to high density. And it looks like, you know, we can do it this way, which is fine. Looks like that worked out okay. I don't think they're actually building the road on the highway side, so... Yeah, so they're building their connection onto the smaller roadside. Something weird happened there. Alright, we got some buildings that are having problems because of lack of employees, which is fine. Like I said, we're having that problem. That seems to be solving itself pretty quickly, though. I don't see how we can have demand for industrial, though. I don't see how, like, this is possible that we have demand for industrial when we don't have enough people filling in the jobs for them. Like, that's just sort of something that needs to be sorted out or something. I don't know. But in any event, let's go ahead and start working on another power plant, apparently. Holy crap, am I ever using up power fast. We could add in an oil power plant. That might be a good idea. Or even a hydro power plant. Those are both pretty effective. And in fact, it looks like we are going to want to increase the amount of power that we're getting. This is very expensive. The power output is 6 times higher than that of a single one of these, though. Let's see here. 6 times higher is this, 6 times that is 1,200 a week. So it's actually cheaper to just build 6 more of these advanced wind turbines. That's kind of ridiculous. The initial cost, of course, of building the oil power plant is a little bit cheaper, but that doesn't really make up for the upkeep cost difference. That's just a little bit strange, in my opinion. Either way, though, let's add in another wind turbine, since we're chugging in the power, like, really fast. There we go. Alright, and they say basically it's like green energy, yay! Except, you know, it's probably killing a lot of seagulls, but, you know, who cares about seagulls? They're nasty little things. Okay, so our residential has sort of gone back up again. That tends to happen. We'll go all the way up to here this time, I think, with residential. And we'll just continue on adding in little bits and strips of that as we continue along. Alright. And we can also go ahead and upgrade this to dense commercial. Now, office buildings are not actually more dense necessarily than factory buildings, so you end up with about the same density for both of them, which I think is kind of an interesting way of going about things. I think that if I added another outflow bit of traffic here onto the freeway, it would actually work out quite well for us. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in this, because there's a lot of people who are trying to get all the way down there from up here, who are working downtown, who are trying to get off onto the freeway. So I think that that will probably resolve the little bit of traffic that we're having here. But also I think that we want to add in our metro lines, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And again, this is going to cause like slight problems with happiness of people who are living there, but that gets compensated for by the fact that, you know, everyone's suddenly happy because they've got a whole bunch of transit lines that make their lives so much easier. There we go. Okay, and this is going to therefore be our hub station. This one in the corner here. And this one is going to end up with traffic from all of the different wards traveling into it. So this is going to be a very important stop. But we'll have to keep an eye on how that goes for us. Alright, there we go. And that's going to be our nice, neat little loop here. We're going to have a new line that starts here. It's going to go to there. And it's going to go up to here for coming back down and around down to here. Okay, and then after that we're going to need a line from up here, and we're going to need this one to come around down to here. We can skip the industrial area since this is for people, again, who work in or live in Shirogane to get up to the working area in Kudo. There we go. And now we need something. We can actually just rely on this hub station here to get people from one to the other, I think. Because people from... Do people stop here from the other one? I don't remember. But anyway, we've got 700 people taking trains every week now, so that's pretty good. That should help resolve traffic just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Looks as though we've also solved a lot of our worker problems, our worker shortages. And we don't seem to have too many problems as far as like unemployment goes or anything like that, so we're not going to worry about that right now. We can, however, increase the density of this here. And let's just check on our schooling. We don't have enough elementary schools again. So, like I said, this higher density, you just need more schools outright to actually accommodate for the larger population. Our capacity is still below the eligible number of people who can go to elementary school in our city. That's fantastic. Let's build one up there. It's going to be a weird little corner one that's near the highway where little children get run down by cars a lot. It's very tragic, but I mean, it does happen. Let's see. That's what happens with poor city planning. Anyway, let's put this one up here. We'll put it sort of in the middle of Shirogane. I was going to say that you can put one in, like, every other town, but it looks like our density is so high that we actually need one in all of them, which is fine. Hopefully this city is going to actually work out. Like, I haven't honestly played this as much as some other people, so I'm sure that there's some people out there who've, like, maximized city layout for traffic much better than I have. But, you know, this is the best I can do. This is the best I can do with the knowledge that I have of the game. Let's see here. This is down to 8... Actually, I think I stopped telling them to incinerate that. And that's stuck at 73. Okay, so I actually have turned off that. I need to turn that on, and I need to empty it to another facility. There we go. Okay, so that should be fine. We did have a third garbage incinerator, right? Or a fourth, I mean. Looks like it. So that should eventually kick in. We should actually build the advanced fire department at some point in time, you know, at a point in the future. Here looks like a good spot, actually. We'll go ahead and put that there. And it looks like this overpass here is getting a lot of traffic, which is kind of good and kind of bad. I would kind of like it if people didn't use it quite as much as they did, but it is cutting down traffic in other areas quite a bit, so at the same time I can't complain too much. What I'm hoping is that this gets reduced by the number of people who are going to be taking transit, hopefully. But for now, it looks like quite a few people want to take their cars. How are we doing for transit? And let's check our hub station, see if it is indeed as crowded as it... Yeah, so this is what happens when you've got a very crowded hub station. You've got this one area that has like a lot of passengers waiting for the trains. And you can look at how many people are transferring here. So this is working as intended, though. This is people, you know, for the most part, just coming here. They're trying to get onto a new line, trying to get to where they're going, and they're just coming off in streams. And they're coming back. You can tell that they're coming on and off the trains in huge numbers. So that is working extremely well. We're up to 1,700 per week using that rail system. So that transit station is going to be like a lifesaver as far as everything goes. It's just going to be a lot of people using that system to save time, to try and work over in Shirogane if they want to work over in Edogawa, but they live up in Kudo. And that's how we're going to have that sort of filter out and work for us. Alright, so we don't have parks. Like, we just don't. We kind of should work on that. We could have one beside the university. That might be nice for those students who are all stressed out about all the awful things that I'm making them do. Like, you know, learning differential calculus or whatever like that. We could build a Paradox Plaza. That's actually pretty interesting. But I really like just placing the plaza with picnic tables because it's so much more powerful than the other ones. The Japanese garden I actually also quite like, though, and I think it has a sort of very zen downtown office space kind of vibe to it. So we're going to put that down for the office workers around there. And that's going to be a little bit... You can see that there's a little bit of effect there. And I think that it fits in well with the office complex area, although admittedly this isn't an office complex. This is, you know, cultural, or commercial, rather. So, you know, whatever works. We can actually also build some of the wonders that I've accumulated. The thing is that, like, we have the Statue of Wealth, for example. The thing is that I haven't unlocked everything, and I don't want to unlock some other stuff in this game. But we could put down this plaza, for instance, and it would be a pretty large influence of property value. I don't know. Either way, let's see where we can cram in just a little bit more industrial. Looks like we could go ahead and we could actually build our offices all the way out to there, and that would help solve some of that industrial demand here. We've got high demand for that. We've got medium demand for these commercial zones, so we can probably upzone a little bit more of it. And I do need to figure out... Oh, we got a population of 20,000 already. Can take out a third loan if we have to. How are we doing for power here? We could build this solar generator. The interesting thing about the solar generator is that I could just put it out on the highway, and that is actually perfectly fine. If it weren't for the fact that would be out of city limits, apparently. So I could put it like here or something like that, and that would be perfectly fine for it, but we're going to continue with these hydros. The solar, if we look at it, it costs 1,200 a week, so that would be the same as 6 of these. The effects of this is 160, so that would be the same as 8 of these. Actually, does that make this a bit cheaper? Yeah, that actually does make this a tiny bit cheaper. There is noise pollution associated with it, but that is fine. So we'll put down a solar plant right there. And that should help out just a little bit as far as our energy demands go. Okay, so at this point in time, like, our accumulation, like, for industrial demand is just increasing. One of the things is I can also slip in just a tiny bit more industrial by tearing down these garbage facilities, which we'll be able to do in short time, you know, relatively soon. One of the other things that I can do is I can try upgrading these roads to the green tree-lined ones, and by increasing the property value around these factories, it actually does influence whether or not they will go up to the next level, which I think is a little bit odd. I don't think Dirty Industrial should gain benefits from that, and they should gain more benefits from other things, like, you know, educated workers, stuff like that. There we go. high commercial demand, stuff like that. I like how this just annihilates cars out of the game, basically. There we go. This does then beg the question of, like, where are people parking in this gigantic monolithic city of extremely dense, packed streets with no suburbs? Alright. Well, I guess there are still, like, small areas with suburbs, but, you know, whatever. Alright, there we go. I like how there's just stretches that end up not being upgraded because of whatever reason. It's very strange. Alright, so I think that that's pretty much all of the roads in this region, which is good. I think I've done all the roads here already, and I think I've done all the roads here already. So that's going to be perfectly fine. We're still getting some traffic issues down here. I really do apparently need to add in another ramp. I mean, I have got 2 ramps going from Shirogane to Edogawa, which seems to really help out the traffic flow problems that I would otherwise probably have. So what I'm considering doing is adding in another one, but instead of having it, instead of keeping this one here, I might demolish this one so that I've got ones that are sort of more located away from the center here, so I can have 2 of them. But we'll see. We'll put one up here, just along corner to corner. This looks too steep. So yeah, I am going to have to do this again. There we go. Okay. And that's another overpass. Let's see if that cuts down on traffic just a little bit. Can already see some people using it. This does create, apparently, a 3-way standoff where people just don't, the traffic doesn't move at all. But, you know. Actually, no, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, we still got a lot of traffic coming in through this area. What I'm considering doing is taking out this road and adding it in again further down, removing this road as well, and changing it so that people exit up through back here or something here. That might work. Or actually, let's eliminate this road regardless. And let's go ahead and eliminate this road. We're gonna have a bunch of weird flying cars, but that's fine. They'll find their way. Life finds a way. There we go. There we go. And that should change our traffic flow quite a bit. So now people are going to be turning onto the main road over here, and they're going to be going all the way over here or up here for the traffic exchange. So this has already really changed the flow of traffic quite a bit. You can see that people are moving a lot more smoothly, which is perfect. We can add in a couple small office towers near here, so I think that that's going to be fine. We'll keep it... We actually have just enough room for the 4-tile size, which is perfect. And we're actually going to use industrial offices along here, and even along here we can do it right beside... Like, these don't produce the same sort of pollution that other ones do, so we can actually put offices right beside this residential zone, and that'll be actually fine. Like, we're not going to be hurting at all if we do that. We've almost finished emptying out that garbage dump, which is going to be fantastic once we do. That'll help us lower that even just a tiny bit more. We've got all of our commercial along here up to high density, except for this little bit over here. So we're going to go ahead and hit that up. There we go. And that is going to be fine. Okay, and the traffic flow is now a little bit janky over here with all of the people who are coming all the way from the Kudo ward over to the Edogawa ward. I think that the reason for that is that people are going up here and down here instead of using the freeway. So one of the ways that I can encourage people to use the freeway is to add in an on section over here. But I don't know where to put it. I think over here might be good. Okay, that is a one-way in the right direction. That is a one-way in the right direction. Okay, so what's going to happen, hopefully, is that instead of coming out of the town up through here, down through here, and through this traffic hell, people are going to use the freeway and instead turn in through there. And, you know, they'll leave the Kudo area through this, this area, straight onto the road, straight across, and into here. And it looks like that is what is happening. So that is smoothing out traffic flows just a little bit. You can see this backlog starting to disappear a little bit. There's still a lot of intense traffic along here, and there's still a lot of intense traffic along here. So there's still a lot of people who are moving in and around the city in that particular way, but it's fine. I think that this is flowing pretty well, actually. Definitely seem to have more people coming into... You know, I think that there are people who are coming in through this road into Edogawa, and then they're skipping... Okay, so what I can do to avoid that is to actually have a nearby road exiting off of here into the Shirogane area closer by. So, no, people are actually using the freeway to get into Shirogane, and they're using this one too. So there's actually plenty of ways to get into Shirogane without going up into this bridge area, although they're doing it anyway, so I think that these people are just awful. They're monsters. To be honest, though, the traffic backlog is sort of edging towards null, so that's perfectly fine by me. Our traffic is still holding up our garbage collectors, though, to a certain degree, and the fact that our garbage collectors are still full is also holding up our garbage collectors. It burns away, but it does not burn away quick enough to accommodate for the fact that we're dumping everything from there into there as well, so, you know, that's a thing. Either way, let's go ahead and check this. Where can we add in more offices? Don't think we've got any great places left for offices right now, so we will actually have to build another ward pretty soon. We could build up an industrial park in this section here, and the thing is that we can have a lot of traffic connectors going over there from this freeway. Since the freeway feeds in relatively elegantly from here and would bring it up into here, they could exit into there and then go back onto the freeway over here onto the circle route. Although, admittedly, we'll also want one over here so that they can get back into Kudo and Shirogane a little bit more easily. Either way, we're getting big spikes of population this episode so far. We're up to 22,000. Growth slowed a bit since I've stopped zoning in a lot of crazy things. But, I mean, that is perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and plan that out. Now, we want to have our exit off of... here. We could have people come up to here to exit into the industrial park, which is going to be fine. And we might as well start with the tree lines. There's no point in doing otherwise. And we can bring it all the way down here, it looks like, pretty effectively. Come in under those power cables, and just like that. And like that. So this is a pretty decent setup for what we want here. It's already covered by water, which is nice. And then we can go ahead and add in our... whatever this is, offices. Okay, so we can bring that all the way down to here. And then we can unzone just a tiny bit of this and a tiny bit around the road. Just to prevent some traffic buildups that could otherwise happen along there. Okay, so this is going to be another sort of this is going to be our first sort of industrial park. We're not just going to have offices. We'll move it into sort of dirty industry as we move further into this corner here, but that's going to be sort of what we've got going on here. Did I put that in the right direction? Yes, I did. Okay, so we're also going to need a one-way over here that's going to lead back, and then we can take this road into here if we want to. Alright, so let's give that a shot. And one of the things that I want to do as well is check on our train station here. Yeah, and we've got 2,600 passengers every week taking the train, which is a pretty massive volume. We're going to definitely want to introduce some traffic over to here, but for now, let's start with bus lines. Go ahead and create a new line wherever. We'll start this actually here. And what is the efficient way to deal with this? How do I get here? Okay, they would have to actually exit out, so if I'm going to do that anyway, I might as well do it like this. And then, coming up into here, and then back. And then complete line. Okay, so that's going to be our basic one for now, and what I actually need to do is introduce a way for people who are in Shirogane to directly exit here and then enter into the industrial area. So we're going to actually just have a direct road straight over there, and that's going to be fine. So that'll cut down on that, and we can also redo our bus route now that we'll have a much more simplified bus route, which is going to be fine. Okay, so we want to add in our stops here. That stops there, that stops there. And again, we're just going to go along here. And then we're just going to go ahead and hit complete line here. I don't want to deal with this. There we go. Okay, so we're having some police issues, it looks like, so we're going to add in a large police station. And we haven't got a police coverage in this area yet, so we're just going to have that. That'll completely wipe out all the criminals, so they're just instantly genocided by the police presence. Alright, so, this should... Yeah, you can see that we've actually got a huge decrease in industrial demand, which is great. And let's go ahead and rezone this commercial over here as well. Perfect. Except for that tiny strip there. What the hell? Alright, there we go. And we can add in one of these as well. Why not? I can't see where that's going. Okay, so let's pause this so I can see what the hell I'm doing. We'll add that right there. And this is going to have a big and profound effect on the land value in the region, which is quite nice. You can see lots of dinging going on because of that. Alright, so we're going to expand this office industrial zone that's sort of bordered by all of our other zones pretty effectively. We want to have people who are in this area to be able to quickly and efficiently exit to leave into there. So we're going to add another little one over here. That might be too many intersections along this road here, since this is already kind of crazy. But it looks like it's not too bad, actually. Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad. So traffic along the freeway is a little bit start and stop more than I would like, because there are a few intersections that count for lights for some reason. Actually, yeah, there are lights here. It'd be nice if they had some of those, like, turning-only lanes, so, like, this went from a 4-lane road here with these 2 lanes closed off, these people turn in and then merge. Not sure if there's a way to do that in this game, but either way. Okay, this building is finally empty. So we're going to go ahead and bulldoze it. There we go. And that's going to let us drop in a little bit more dirty industry there. Perfect. And from there we can move on to emptying this one again. Turn that on. And that's 73% full. This one's only 37% full, but we'll empty the full one first. And you can just see that we're getting a lot of really good buildings in here. You can see, look at this place. This is already looking pretty fantastic. I'm liking this. Okay, we've got some weird density issues where it's like the weird standoff of like a suburb between these gigantic gleaming monstrous towers. And it's just like, guys, we feel a little bit small and vulnerable here. And I'm like, damn right you do. Alright. So let's go ahead and upgrade your houses so that you no longer feel small and vulnerable. This is going to be causing some crushing traffic issues down here, I suspect, but we'll deal with those as we can. We might have to relocate some buildings because we might have to upgrade this to a 4-lane road or something like that. Which would be fine, honestly. If you go in here, we can see that there's these 4-lane road with decorative trees. There's also 4-lane road with decorative grass. Trees obviously is a little bit nicer, so we would probably prefer that. Look at all this traffic. Tons of people coming in and out of the town. Alright. Okay, we're gonna have to do something about that power line, so we're gonna pause here. And we're going to go ahead and redo our power line here to accommodate for that. Actually, what we could also potentially do... It's the wrong zoning. We could also go like this. And hope that that works quickly enough. Okay, there we go. So what happened here is I forced it to build here first, and that meant that it reconnected the power naturally, so I didn't have to use the power cables. So you can use zoning in that capacity if you have the guts. Alright, there we go. A little bit more to our industrial park, our worker office park. That's fantastic. Do we have a problem with our electricity or something? No, we've got plenty. How are we with water? We could actually do with a little bit more water treatment pretty soon. And we've got like a lot of sewage running off, but it's just disappearing off into the void, which is not too bad. You know, things are not, as far as that's concerned, all that bad. But look at how smoothly this traffic is going. We've already got 22,000 people. Look at how dense everything is. Love this. Got these lovely little trees in between these parking lot areas. A lot of pink apartments. Very strange. One of the things that I do notice sometimes is that the commercial and the residential zones kind of merge together in appearance once you start getting to these larger, taller buildings. It becomes a little bit harder to tell what sort of zoning you're looking at just off the bat here. But, you know, this is still working out pretty well for us either way we look at it. Let's check our education needs. We're low on high schools again, but that's fine. Like, the thing about education is that you don't necessarily need everybody to be at the maximum education level, because if you have everyone too highly educated, what ends up happening is that your dirty industry suffers because they don't have enough cheap labor to go around. So having a little bit of uneducated people because your capacity is not as good as it could be is actually perfectly fine. But, you know, what we should actually do is, like, start giving the different wards different attributes and different policies, and just see how that affects things. Like, I might want to consider putting, say, smoke detectors in the Shirogane ward, maybe? Yeah, I think that that sort of sounds like a fun idea. So we could do that, and then at Agawa over here, we could go with the policies and give them an education boost. Actually, you know what would make sense is we'll put smoke detectors in both of those, but we're going to go to the Shirogane word again. We're going to go into policies, and we're going to give them education use, because they've got the university. So I wonder what that's going to do, because our general city policies, like, we don't have that, but if we go into here, if we look at education boost, increases education budget by 25%, okay. It prioritizes education over working for young adults. So that means that people over in this little section of town are going to all be going to university, pretty much. And we need to actually buffer out that zoning just a little bit. There we go. And that is fine. So this place is going to become like our high-tech, highly educated sector where everybody goes to university, and there's 1,350 something students right now, so that's fantastic. Alright, and we, again, need more factories. That's fantastic. We'll go ahead and put down a fire station here first. That's going to be what we're going to do instead of expanding this area. And the thing is, like, increasing the effectiveness of this area by increasing, like, parks and stuff like that is an effective way to increase the value of the factories, like how much industrial we actually have. Is not just a function of, like, how much factories we have, industrial we have, it's also a function of, like, how upgraded it is. So all these mass upgrades, if we can get it up to tier 3, would actually make this much more productive. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. How are you doing here? 48%. That's still going down. That's lovely. We do probably need some more crematoriums, so we're going to go ahead and deal with that. I think over here seems like a good spot, or maybe we could go here. Despite what it looks like, these actually are good for, you know, business and stuff like that, so we could put one over here, and this would actually increase the happiness. Actually, that already increased the happiness over there. Radius of that's quite large. But let's go ahead and put one here, for example. And that's going to increase the happiness over a huge area. I need to relocate that slightly. Let's click on that. Let's click on you. Let's relocate. Oh no, that is actually along the edge there, so... yeah, that's fine. Alright, so... water. Let's go ahead and increase the amount that we've got available here. Just by a little. We can start... Is this hooked up? I think that might be hooked up. Huh, that's nice. Okay, so we're going to start putting in these water treatment plants instead of more of the dirty water ones. And we're going to put that along here. And we need to hook that up to that. And then we need to go ahead and redo our power, it looks like. What the hell's going on here? There we go. That should fix that. Just slightly went a little bit too far there. That's fine. And that brought water and sewage back pretty quickly. Didn't take too long. Alright. And how are things going over here? Okay. Could do with a little bit more residential, it looks like, so we can upgrade another block. We'll go ahead and upgrade this. Just like that's fine, actually. That should be good. And we could go ahead and also upgrade another length of this industrial park. There we go. Just like that. We can delete those power lines once we get some industrial kicking in. We can delete this one already. Then you can go ahead and replace it with this. I don't think we can delete this one all that elegantly, so we're going to leave that in there. It doesn't really matter. Alright, so this is our city, and as you can see, the actual shape of it hasn't changed all that much, but we've gotten a much, much higher population without having to actually add in new buildings for the most part. We've added in some new road infrastructure just a little bit here and there, and we've also added in, of course, more of your typical buildings that you need. But for the most part, yeah, this is a fully functioning city that's expanding through density rather than through sort of suburbs and stuff like that. And our traffic's still flowing pretty well. We've managed to get sort of divert people across different sort of roads so that they're coming in and across different ways, which is good. Which is good. I like that. Look at all these people coming into this town. Really starting to take off and boom here. So, anyway, I hope you found this video enjoyable. And of course, as always, I hope to see you all next time.